Welcome to the party. It's your boy Malintent. We're back again today to try to go over the Cyclone Summoner build. The Cyclone Summoner build is a starter build that I would say is usable within the first few days of the league. It is one of those builds that actually can get you into the in-game mapping, get you pretty far. You'll be able to do some Awakener levels. You should be able to, with 3 million points of damage, be able to take down Awakener level 8. This build is a little bit harder to get around. I do not have a leveling guide for this build at this time due to the changes that we have inside of 316's tree. The things that we would need to be aware of is this one is going to require you to have some clusters, and those clusters are going to be very important for the build. The things that you want to do is you want to make sure you have Feasting Fiends, Vicious Bite, Renewal. The Vicious Bite gives is not as important, but Feasting Fiends and the Renewal is. On the medium cluster, you want to make sure you have Blessed Rebirth and Renewal. Those are the most important ones. Everything else is actually just going to be pretty much almost a standard configuration, a standard build for a minion build. We will do the things that you will be using is you will be using Summon Phantasm as your main damage dealer. I have certain things you're going to need to get a Soul Rest, a Soul Rest staff to be able to go ahead and do this. Some of the things that you're going to probably need to do until you get a Soul Rest, because Soul Rests are usually expensive at the beginning of the league. But what you can do to get a Soul Rest is make sure you do your Beast, and grab every staff you can do with a Beast. So you want to make sure you do your Beast. Make sure you get your staff stuff for the Beast. Second thing that you need to be aware of is during the leveling process, you're going to want to probably use skeletons with a Summon Phantasm built into the skeleton. So skeleton, Summon Phantasm, and then add on some of the other gems that you're going to be needing to use. You're going to use that leveling up until you can get yourself a Soul Rest. After you get yourself a Soul Rest, Soul Rest I think is like 30 some odd is when it actually really can be usable. No, 62 is when it's usable. I'm thinking of a different thing. 62 when it's usable. At 62, you should be able to switch over to the Soul Rest. Do not forget that all you need is 6 sockets on a Soul Rest. You do not have to have them linked. You do not need to link your sockets in a Soul Rest for the Soul Rest to be to benefit from all of the gems that you have in here. So these are the gems that I have and I will be using. There are certain things that you need to be aware of. I decided to put Pierce in place instead of multi projectiles. That does change. Multi projectiles is better for probably clearing, but I wanted to test out using Pierce instead, because you have 20 of them. You're going to be able to do some, you're going to have a little bit of crowd control. You got some defenses that are going to be in place. This guide was generated before the Determination gems were modified. Since this guide was made before the Determination gems were modified, please, after the gems have been updated, you're going to want to come in the custom modifiers. You want to remove this armor. You want to remove this armor. And then this will be correct. The only reason is I put in 1025 armor is Determination is a Determination gem right at this time gives you 51% more armor. So with when the gem actually gets modified and updated, your armor will give you 2051 armor. So 1025 is half of that, and then you're getting an extra boost because of the determination, giving you more armor. So just be aware of that. That's as close as we can get without some finagling and figuring out how much armor we already have and trying to adjust down until we can get there. But this should be close enough that you actually have a understanding of where your armor is going to be. There are certain things inside this build that are not calculated. You have a 20% chance when you to defend with 200% of your armor. So that is going to give you a huge boost to your armor every so often. So be aware of that. This build, I believe, should be tanky enough to actually be able to run through the content and get you into the end game pretty easily. Bastion of Hope, when active, gives you 75% block. If it is not active, you will be at 32% chance of block. Just be aware of that. Minions skill recently, and while moving, don't forget that we have some other regen capabilities when moving. You do intimidate and unnerve when you have multiple minions and everything in place. Non-Golem minions is 12. Don't forget the elemental army, which gives you the exposure so that you actually get the damage that we're actually getting. I use Holy Relic because Holy Relic actually does a little healing and does damage at the same time. So that's actually always a very good thing when you're when you have the option to be able to use Feeding Frenzy, Signal Prey. Using Predator is going to be a must when you're fighting bosses and things like that. You don't necessarily need it when you're running through, but if you get something that pops up and it's going to be staying alive a little bit of time, make sure you hit it with Predator. That should bring it down. I don't think that there's very much I need to explain on anything else on this sheet to explain why it's there. But this, like I said, this build I believe will get us to the end game and get you into fighting Awakener and Cirrus. The items are made in a simple fashion so that they are not tweaked out to be the awesomest and the best. You have 3 million points of damage with some pretty mediocre gear. Okay, so the things that are going to be the most expensive to get and or might be hard to get will be this Soul Rest and the Grip of the Council. Those are the two things that are going to probably be the most. They're going to be a little bit hard to get, but after you get them, you should be good. But if you can't get the Soul Rest, just go ahead and use the Fenris staff until you get there. Use skeletons until you can get up to where you need to be, until you get Soul Rest, then switch into Soul Rest. Also, the Grip of the Council, if you don't have a Grip of the Council, you can use Triad, and if you use the Triad, just be aware that you want to go ahead and you want to do you want to go ahead and do the Triad. If you do Triad, make sure that you don't want to necessarily get rid of, you want to do some code conversion, but I found that you can do code conversion and that'll work out for you. Jinx Juju is a pretty cheap necklace. What that does is, and now what we're doing is, you want to use, for your raised Spectre, you want to use Primal Crush Claws if you can get them. That spread, and Jinx Juju, what it does is 10% of the damage that you are going to take will be spread to your Spectres. So if you have pretty beefy Spectres, i.e. Primal Crush Claws that have a lot of life, when you're taking hits, 10% of that damage is going to go to them. They're going to take that damage. Don't forget that they get a 6,000 point regen. So you won't kill them by things hitting you. They will regen pretty quickly. So that's a extra layer of defense that you're going to be wanting to use. Everything else, like I said, is going to be pretty simple gear pieces. No special configurations or anything that are put in there. The most expensive items that you're going to get are going to be those, the Ghastly Eye Jewels. You can get them. You're just going to need to just constantly look for them. Put up what I would suggest is put up a snipe on the trade site, looking for minion gems. And the things that you're going to want to look for is minion gems with physical damage and the recently used a recent skill. So you're just going to want to snipe those. And since I don't really care about all the other mods, it makes it really easy to get. You will be able to grab these at a reasonable price, because those particular ones, you're not looking for any of the other mods that would enhance the capabilities of your minions. So be aware of that. You can just grab little crappy stuff, put it in place, get yourself up and running, and then later on, I would suggest boosting your damage by replacing some of those gems with ones that give plus hinder, plus blind, and some other things that would actually enhance your capabilities, so that you can go ahead and just run through everything. Just be aware, those are the things. Be very very cognitive of when the gems get done. Remove this line because it's not really needed after the gems get updated. If you have any questions, don't feel free to hit me up. I'm going to be here for you. Peace. Catch y'all later.